So F1 2020 has finally been released. Now you'll remember about a month and a half ago now, we did a bit of a sneaky pre-release or media release look at the game, but we were pretty limited in what we were allowed to talk about. We had to sign NDAs and yeah, we weren't really allowed to talk about AI or physics too much. It was really more about the overall look and feel of the game. And in fact, the game itself that we had access to was very heavily locked down. We didn't have access to a lot of the game modes, including My Team. And yeah, we weren't really able to give a proper evaluation of the game at that point in time. So what I wanted to do in today's video is cover all the things that I wanted to cover back then but couldn't, and really give you a good picture of whether F1 2020 is worth your time and money. So I have a bit of a laundry list of things that kind of drove me away from F1 2019 and yeah, things that kind of just broke the game for me. So I'm hoping that a lot of those things will be fixed in this year's game. And we'll also take a detailed look at the new features as well, of course. Now, I know that a lot of you are going to be interested in different aspects of the game. So what I'm going to do is not edit this video too heavily. I'm going to sort of try to cover as many aspects as I possibly can, as much detail as I can, and really sort of capture that first experience of playing the game. And what I'll do is provide some timestamps in the description below the video for you guys so that you can jump to the bits that you're particularly interested in. So let's get started. All right, so chuck my headphones on here. Welcome to the, I won't say all new interface because it's very reminiscent of F1 2019, but we do have new music. We do have a few new options here, as well as a split screen mode, which we probably won't test out in today's video because we don't really have anybody to play with on a second screen. But an interesting little addition there we will try and check out a little bit later on, see what we can come up with there. Can't really do it with a sim rig like this, but we'll figure something out. Might get Jill on or something like that. Now, one thing I do want to mention here straight off the bat is that I know a lot of you were frustrated in the previous versions of the game that there's no mouse support. Unfortunately, still no mouse support, so you can't navigate around the menus using a mouse, which kind of sucks in my opinion. You have to use your F keys to go across the tabs at the top, exactly the same as the previous games. So if you were hoping for that, unfortunately it's bad news for you. The other thing that we'll cover straight off the bat, most of you will know this by now, it's not really been a secret for quite some time, but there is no VR support as well as no proper triple screen support still. Now, what I mean by proper triple screen support isn't that you can't run on triple screens at all, you can, but if we go into graphics options here quickly, I can show you. Under video mode, you can see we do have the NVIDIA full width or full resolution here of 10440 by 1440, which does go across all three screens, but there's no projection correction at all. So you do get a distorted perspective on the side screens, unlike in titles like Assetto Corsa, Competizione as well, iRacing and so forth, that actually correct for the perspective, so you don't get that distorted picture. Not possible at the moment in F1 2020, unfortunately. So there's a couple of things there that I really would have liked to have seen included just for the more sort of hardcore sim racers. Unfortunately, they're still not there. And I think that what we're going to find with this title is it's very much still sort of designed to appeal to the masses rather than the more sim racing focused scene, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be an entertaining and fun game by any means. So quickly under assists here now, we have a new casual mode as well as standard assists. We're going to switch everything off for the purpose of this video because I know that most of you guys are probably going to be wanting to run with that anyway. Pit release assist, I'll leave that on. ERS assist, no, we're going to switch that off. So I'm just going to leave pit assist on for now. And yeah, everything else off, so that's all good. And let's go in and have a look at this new My Team mode. This is, I haven't done too much research into this simply because I wanted to keep this video as raw as I possibly could. So as I'm discovering it, you guys are sort of discovering it as well. So do you want the challenge of entering into Formula 1 as a new team? In My Team mode, you'll start from scratch as the 11th team on the grid, building up your team in order to create a lasting legacy. Sounds good. Being both the team owner and the driver will have its own unique set of challenges you'll have to perform both on the track and behind the scenes.
Welcome to My Team. Here, you'll experience the world of Formula 1 not only as a driver, but as the owner of a brand new F1 team. First things first, let's choose your character.
All right, so we'll quickly choose a character that actually looks ridiculously like me. That's quite freaky, actually. What name should we give the team? Let's call it Rich Energy. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for doing that. I don't think I will. Just for some lols.
Now, some kind of income stream is critical, so we need to sign a primary sponsor. Our primary sponsor will pay a signing bonus to the team up front. This is vital to cover the early investments we need to make. They will also provide valuable weekly income for us. Each sponsor has a goal that they want the team to achieve. If we hit that goal, the sponsor will pay us an additional goal bonus.
I reckon let's go with distort. That sounds good.
Now we've got a budget to work with. Our car won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit. So let's sign a power unit supplier now. We need both performance and durability from our power unit.
Well, we definitely don't want a Renault then. Ferrari more durable than Mercedes? Really? Nah. Maybe. Well, we don't want to have to spend... Well, we have to spend a lot of our money on that, so... I'm going to go with Merc, teammate.
Available to be your first teammate. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses, so consider everything when deciding who to hire. Drivers earn acclaim based on their performances. When a driver earns enough acclaim, they will level up. The higher a driver's level, the more acclaim they will earn for their current team. And remember, the faster the team levels up, the faster our income will increase. The higher a driver's experience, the more resource points are earned to spend on vehicle upgrades. Racecraft is the driver's skill to effectively complete overtakes when opportunities arise. Awareness shows the driver's ability to avoid errors and incidents. Pace describes the driver's ability to set competitive lap times. Rating is a summary of the driver's...
Jeez, there's a lot to take in. I mean, it's all pretty self-explanatory, but... It's quite detailed in, like if you've never played a sort of a manager style game before, then it's quite a lot to take in, particularly if you're not really familiar with the sport. But I think this is going to be something that's going to, you know, give the game a little bit more longevity in terms of the career mode for those who aren't really sort of into online racing. So this is pretty cool. So what have we got here? Let's go with Juan Manuel Correa, I think. A little bit cheaper than the others, but okay. So you gotta use the tools that are sort of in here to do it. So you can't just sort of import a JPEG or something by the looks of things, or a PNG, I should say, or a GIF. I'm colorblind. This is a pointless exercise for me. We'll just go with those three. I'm happy with that. I can't really see what I'm doing anyway, so that's fine. All right. So obviously the calendar isn't the same as what we actually ended up with this year, but we can shorten it. Probably want to do the full 22 races, I think. We're not obviously going to do it in this video, but we'll check it out. So it allows you to customize your race experience the way that you want to play. The 2 race styles available, standard or casual. Each of these styles has different driving assists available in them. So that's what we talked about before. Standard race style is for players who already have some experience in racing games, or those who want to improve their skills. Driving assist can be turned on or off, allowing a truly customized experience. And then casual is the most accessible. Enabled, the game will assist you by making the car easy to control. Yeah, we're not interested in that, but it's good that they do put that in there. We might actually check that out in a separate video. I think maybe have a look at it with a hand controller and see what it's like to drive. Okay, so we're gonna go full practice. We're gonna go full qualifying sessions as well. We'll leave full. We'll make it as realistic as we can. Might go 50% races, I think. Or maybe for the purpose of this video, we might do 25% races. Then we might start another. Oh no, we'll do 50. Yeah, that'll do. And we definitely want to crank up that AI level. I might, because it's a new game and I don't know exactly how it's going to handle. I'm going to go with 70% AI for now. Normally in F1 2019, I drove at 100 or 90 in some tracks. But yeah, I'm going to keep it a little lower to begin with, because I do want to be able to lap some cars, because I want to see what they behave like. One of the problems I had with F1 2019 was lapped cars would park on the apex as you were passing them, and you often end up hitting them, which just really sucked. So yeah, we'll see. We want to enable Pro Career as well. Yeah, so that's what we want. Oh, okay, so you can't... Can you turn that down? No, you can't. Okay, so that's just... Yeah, okay, so if you enable Pro, you can't actually turn down the AI level, so we don't want to do that. We'll put it back in noob mode for now. Meeting the press. Okay, so we're going to run through the whole diplomacy thing again. This is all pretty much the same by the looks of things as it has been in previous games, so we don't need to go into a whole lot of detail here. In my team, your answers can even influence the direction that the team takes before you hit the track. Some of the answers in your preseason interview will advance your R&D in specific areas, so choose wisely. Pretty much the same. Media coaching perks as well. Let's go. Hey, it's Matt. It's cool how they insert those people into the games.
5, 4, 3. Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. We've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver.
We want to be humble or do we want to be brave? How much time have we got? We don't have a time limit? Okay. We don't want to come across as arrogant, but yeah, I think this one's the best answer.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
Like absolute garbage. Team balance. Your sponsors will give you cash each week as extra bonuses when you complete their objectives. These are your resource points. These also help the team to upgrade the car. You can spend them at any time in R&D. This is your team's acclaim level. Increases, so does your income from sponsors. Many of the top drivers won't consider moving to a lower claim team, so get out there and prove yourself on track before approaching them. Of course, you don't want to count your chickens before they've hatched, so to speak. Okay, so this is all very, very new. We've got...
This is where you can
okay, we'll let him tell us.
And the effects they're having on the business. You can also invest some of our cash into upgrades for these facilities.
Okay. So we've got aerodynamics, chassis, personnel. Geez, this is detailed. Sponsorship. Oh, there's the marketing girl. Sponsor relations. Jeez, I mean, you could get buried really deep into this. Don't have any funds for that yet. We've got durability. Okay, so we did get a boost of 1 for our durability department because we gave them some big ups. But yeah, we've only got 1,000 resource points at the moment, so we don't have enough to really do much. You can see just, I mean, I'm not going to go into a massive amount of detail now on all this stuff, but you can see just how much stuff you can do here. This is cool. So now, oh, there's a sim. What's he driving? It looks like a CSL Elite, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's have a quick look at R&D here as well. Okay, so this works pretty much exactly the same as before. We can choose where we want to spend our points. So across in vehicle, looks like it's all the same options that we had previously. I'll tell you what though, not having a mouse with this level of detail, what were they thinking? It really needs to have mouse control for this UI. It's quite ridiculous, to be honest with you. Corporate. Okay. Contracts, driver market. Okay. So you can even do merchandise sales and advertising campaigns, and this is crazy. You want to do a press tour? Yeah, probably a press tour is probably a good idea. We've got 4 more days there before the car reveal, so we don't have time to do anything else, so we'll give them a break. And the 7th we might go into a driver training camp. And then we have the first Grand Prix weekend. Alright, car reveal time. Let's go. Whoa. There she is. Almost looks as plain as the Cool Runnings tin can. And we've got our first race. So let's go to... have a look at tyre allocation first. Yeah, that all looks good. Let's go to the race weekend. Alright, time to do some driving. So we'll do a little bit of driving in practice just so we can get a feel for how the car drives. And then we might skip through qualifying. We might start from the back of the grid or something, and then come back and do a race or something like that. We'll figure it out as we go. But I sort of just want to do what I think is going to give you the best sort of overview of the game here. So we'll go in here, focus on the handling first, and see how it's changed from before. Alright, so I just want to quickly show you under graphics options here to remember my button assignments. So if we go into preferences and then down to graphics options again, we do have a new setting here, which is quite important. Let's see if I can find it again. Where is it? No, it's under video mode. So if we go down here, we've got a setting called dynamic resolution. So we're going to switch that on. And what that allows us to do is actually have the resolution of the game adjust itself based on a target frame rate. So what it'll do is it will slightly reduce, similar to the VRSS stuff that we looked at in VR a little while back. So what it'll do is it'll reduce the resolution every so slightly, or ever so slightly rather, to maintain the frame rate. And it actually does work really well, at least it did in the pre-release version. So no reason to believe it won't here as well. But I'm going to set it to 104. We'll set it to 60. It only lets you choose between a few different options here. Now, our refresh rate is 99 Hertz, so our target frame rate is 100 frames per second or 99 frames per second. So what we'll do is we'll set it to 60, and if we drop below 60 frames per second, what it'll do is it'll reduce our resolution slightly to compensate for that. So confirm that, and we'll sort of keep an eye on how our frame rates and stutterings go and things like that as we drive. But I think I'm not going to be able to do much with setup for now because it's a brand new car. So we're just going to run with the default setting for now. We'll run through track acclimatization to begin with, and we'll do drive out. Okay, driving time. Oh, the sound is nice. The sound is definitely improved. Just in the echo in the garage and stuff. Goes our teammate. Okay, let's do this. Whoa! Looped it. Jeez, it didn't hit the wall though, thankfully. A lot of wheel spin. So it does handle quite different. Whoa, did it again. That's quite surprising because, I mean, obviously you guys know that I'm pretty handy with F1 2019, so I don't know whether it's just this car is really difficult to drive because it's so crappy, but it's actually quite surprising. It handles quite differently to what I'm used to. Sliding all over the place. Gotta be very careful with our throttle application. Whoa, big twitch. Feels good though. DRS open. Starting to get the feel for it now. The sound is so much better though. Whoa. And actually, it feels quite different to what it did in the pre-release, at least to me. Again, I don't know whether it's just this car. We'll jump into a quick race a bit later on, and we might take the Merc for a drive and see how different it feels. But the car is so much more lively than it has been in previous games. And the same sort of exploits that you could use before don't seem to be quite so obvious. When I say exploits, I mean sort of like the physics exploits. So, you know, sort of using certain things that wouldn't work in real life to make you go faster in the game. Whoops, missed that one. Invalidated lap. Whoops. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's, whoa, there we go again. I mean, I certainly wouldn't say that it's, you know, on the Assetto Corsa Competizione or iRacing's level, but the force feedback definitely does feel different to what it did previously, enough that I do feel a little bit more connected to the car than I have previously, and I'm able to sort of really work with the car to catch those slides. It doesn't just sort of grip forever and then just go on me.
That's looking good. Now let's try for purple.
Like it has previously, which is good. So honestly, this is a significant improvement, I feel. It's a much bigger difference. The difference between F1 2018 and 2019 was enough that you kind of, at least for me, it took me sort of 10 laps or so to adapt to it. So there was change there, but it wasn't enough change that it was, you know, vastly different. Whereas this, to me at least, does feel enough that I kind of have to learn all over again to an extent. Which is a good thing. And again, remember, we are driving with absolutely no assists on whatsoever as well, but... Oh, little cloud on the wall there. We'll finish this lap and then we might advance to a race. I think we might actually exit out and go into a quick race, I think. Because I think we've demonstrated just how much diversity there is in the My Team mode. And I think for those of you who are interested in sort of that whole team management aspect of things, it definitely brings a new aspect to the game that hasn't been there, at least in that level of detail previously, which is cool. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to add a new level of immersion in terms of the, you know, getting involved in the gameplay beyond just driving, which is cool. So let's bring it in now. Which button is it? This guy. Okay, we'll go back to the main menu and we'll do a quick race, I think. Alright, so we have the 2020 cars, we have the classic cars, which we actually covered in the previous video, but I'll quickly go in there and show you. So we've got the McLaren MP44, the F190 Ferrari, which I actually need to take for a drive, MP45B, and this will depend on the game version that you have. Oh, they've got a 92 F14B as well. That was one of my favorite cars. Some really nice stuff in here. We're gonna, I think, might have to do a separate video where we test these out. Definitely a wide variety of different cars here though, which is very cool. So let's jump back out of that. F2 as well. All the usual suspects there. Let's jump into the F1 cars. I'm sure that's what the majority of people... So we are running the silver livery. Of course, they only announced that they were switching to the black livery for the Merc very recently, so wouldn't expect them to have that in the game just yet. Got Valtteri 3.0 there as well. Let's go with Lewis. I'm sure a lot of you guys will hate me for it, but we'll go with Lewis. Now, I am going to go with the track that I'm familiar with for now. We will go with Australia simply because, you know, it's one of my better tracks. Now, we of course do have some of the new circuits that have been added to the calendar this year and then kind of not ended up happening. So we've got Vietnam, which looks rather phallic there, I must admit. And then we've also got Zandvoort as well. And I think that's all they added this year. I can't remember. It's been such a cluster F of a year in terms of everything that I can't even remember what the other circuits were. I think they were the only two brand new circuits or returning circuits to Formula One after a long break. So yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, yeah, that's correct. So let's go into Australia. We'll do another video later on where we try out some of those other circuits. So let's do a one-shot qualifying this time. We won't bother with a formation lap. We'll do a 25% race distance, and we'll go AI level of 70, say. Let's just see how that goes for us. All right. Man, I wish I had mouse support. Oh, it's cloudy. Whoa, what's going on with my gears? We've got a fault? Car fault? I don't know what happened there. My gears went backwards and then it suddenly came good. It's going 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was bizarre. Let's restart the session and see if it does that again. Because when I shifted up, it shifted down and then it switched around. So I don't know whether that was a bug or... I'm going to include it in the video though because it was so bizarre. Alright. Give that another try. See if the same thing happens again. There's Bottas ahead of us, so we know what we're up against at least. Whoa, the understeer is really strong and I've spun. It really is very different to last year's games in terms of the handling. I'm just going to check that understeer enhance isn't switched on quickly as well. Just go into here under, where is it? Controls and vibration, force feedback. Generic settings. No, that's not what we want. I'm going to go down to our settings here, edit, vibration and force feedback. There we go. No, understeer enhance is off, but that understeer was really, really strong. Might have to do a little bit more tweaking to our SimuCube settings, I think. Let's try again. Try not to spin this time, huh? Go to max fuel. You have to be so much more careful with your throttle application. There's Bottas. Whoops, run wide. Did we invalidate? No, it doesn't look like we did. There's Vettel now as well ahead of us. Definitely slowing him through there. A little bit of a lock up. Whoa! Whoa! Slapper. It's a messy lap. Another lock up. Far out. Whoa! So much more realistic though than previously. I mean, I say realistic, but you really have to sort of feel what's going on with the car and balance it out a lot more than you did in last year's game. It feels a lot less arcade to me, at least.
And with qualifying complete,
how did we go? 13th. Okay, we weren't last.
Verstappen, Vettel, and Valtteri Bottas.
We weren't dead last, so that's okay.
But don't worry, we'll be back
Let's
tomorrow.
see how we can advance in the race. I haven't had any glitches or frame skips or anything like that so far. And I gotta say, it seems to be really well optimized as well. Yeah, it's running at a nice frame rate. We've got the graphics set to high. We're running a massive resolution here as well. 2080 Ti 9900K for reference. But yeah, let's just jump in. We don't need to see all of the preamble.
Here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside.
Quickly run through the grid just so you guys can see.
We have Bottas, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Stroll, Norris, Ricciardo, Ocon, and
yay, Norris. I'm so happy you got that podium.
I
almost cried. Love him. Who's your favorite driver? I'm just like, I've always been a Hamilton fan, as you guys know, but I really have a lot of respect for Lando Norris. I think he's an absolute legend. Alright, let's go. See what chaos we can cause. Let's have a quick look under race strategy here. Exactly the same as it was in 2019 as well, by the looks of things. Parc Ferme, of course. We haven't changed anything setup wise, so let's go. Man, I wish there was mouse support. Come on. Whoa. Decent launch. Gonna have to back out though. We keep it up the inside here. Still got a car on our inside. Have to be brave. Whoa. He's giving me room. Whoa. We do have realistic damage on, so we have to be careful. Oopsies. Oh dear. That's the end of my wing. Let's make a crash.
Okay, box. We're adjusting this.
Alright, 15 laps. Let's see what we can do. Long hold. There we go. Not the worst launch. Don't really want to be on the outside here. We'll see if we can thread it up the inside a bit. Oh, a bit of a rub. Probably get a warning for that. That's okay, they're not real. Gotta say, it is running ridiculously smoothly though. This level of detail, I feel like it's definitely more optimized than the last game as well. We are running DX12 as well, but high graphics settings and the frame rate has not dipped below 90 at all. At least that I've seen. Alright, come on Ocon, what have you got? Got him. Alright, let's get Norris.
Okay, you're in the top 10.
Whoops. Probably don't want rich mix.
Let's use overtake and burn some of this energy.
Alright. We're in overtake mode at the moment. Oh, not quite close enough. Thought about it. Tail sliding around a bit. Straight around the outside. Oh! Jeez! Don't know how we didn't have an accident there. Switch overtake back off again. Alright, see if we can get Ricciardo now. Overtake back on.
We can now use DRS. DRS now available.
Not quite close enough. Overtake off again. Whoa. Give him a little love tap there, I think. When we stuck behind him for too long. There we go, there's DRS. Overtake button 2. He's got DRS 2 though, of course. You have to be so much more careful with the throttle application now. I feel like these guys are pretty matched to my pace, to be honest. Don't know how much faster I would be if I was in front. About to find out. Shoot it up the inside. Let's get after Stroll. What's Stroll doing in 6th? That's not realistic. Yeah, it's definitely harder to drive than it has been previously. Which I think is a good thing. It's all in that throttle application. The car really moves and you get that sensation of the car drifting around underneath you. Now, I don't have the motion platform running as well, you might have noticed, because it's not compatible just yet. I'm sure it will be with the next update. In fact, it probably, if I put it in 2019 telemetry mode, it probably would actually work. I might have to test that out later. Lost the back end there again. Alright, we're close enough to Stroll that we should...
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Let's get him. He's defending. Woo! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh no. Let's get it. Let's use a flashback. We can use a flashback. I completely missed the braking marker. I was paying so much attention to his backside that, yeah, I kind of missed where I was. Let's, which button is it? This one? Flashback. Which button is the flashback button? This one. Alright, let's try that again.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
He's defending hard. Around the outside, we'll do the Albon. Lucky Stroll's a better driver than Hamilton. Didn't take us out. Got it done the second attempt.
Okay, clear.
Oh, she's moving around. Alright, speaking of Albon. Perez is out. Oh dear. No DRS this lap. Back to Rich.
We're approaching the pit window.
Turn off overtake. Lap 6 of 15. You guys can't quite see that underneath my overlay, but lap 6 of 15.
Caution, caution.
Oh, what have we got up here? Oh, he's off. Whoi! Big power slide. Whoa, 3-second penalty.
Last incident.
My bad. Ran off the road.
Some information on Albon. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Oh, Albon's slowing down in front of us. That'll make things spicy.
We're not going to be able to run in this engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop
all right.
down to mix too soon.
Should be able to get past him here, I think. Overtake. Come on, get out of the way, buddy. There we go. Got it done. They defend well, I gotta say. Other than that lapped traffic or the blue flag bug in last year's game that never did seem to get fixed. And we're yet to determine whether that's still a problem in this game, but we'll see. Bottas into the pits.
Valtteri is in the pits.
Yeah, what was I saying? The lapped car bug. Yeah,
This lap. Push
I've always been really impressed with the AI in, well, since I think F1 2018 was pretty good, but 2019 was a pretty significant improvement over it, I think, in terms of the way the AI defended. You really had to battle hard with them, and they weren't sort of so predictable. Like a lot of F1 2018, you could place the car on the inside and you knew that they would always just yield straight away. So there wasn't all that much of a challenge to it. Once you kind of knew how the AI behaved, it was the same all the time. So you could kind of just position the car and know what they would do. What I'm finding here is it's a little bit more unpredictable, perhaps. It's maybe a bit early to tell yet, but we'll come into the pits and we'll hopefully get a better picture. Might pit this lap, I think. Put the pit limiter on nice and early. There we go. Okay, let's have a look at the pit stop animation here. Pretty much the same. Nothing majorly different. Back out. Got Verstappen got past us. Bottas is back past us. Leclerc's back past us.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Even just the way the rear tyres lit up then, and I felt the car step sideways. I mean, you would get wheel spin in F1 2019, but you didn't get the sensation like this is doing, so... We don't really have any other cars around us, so what I might do is slow down. We'll let these guys past, I think, and then we'll see if we can overtake them again and have a few battles. So we'll slow down, let them past. Because I want it to be a bit of an exciting race. Right, we'll battle our way back past them again. Ocon. See how he's challenging? I can't just send it down the inside like I normally would. Or can I? Oh, we've hit him. That was my bad. Oh. Definitely my bad there. Did a Hamilton. Alright, we've got another chance to take out Albon now. Yeah, that understeer feels way different. Really, when you lock up a wheel, the wheel almost just spins on you. As in the steering wheel. He's on hards. I'm on hards too, actually. I thought I was on mediums. Not quite brave enough to get that one done this time. We've still got Ocon right on our ass as well.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
How many laps have we got to go? 5. Okay, should be okay then. Come on, Albon, you're holding me up, buddy. Woo! Managed to avoid it.
We've got a lot of spare energy.
Ran him out wide though. It was a very aggressive move. Big power slide again. But yeah, really impressed with the way they defend. Another power slide. See if we can get Norris again before the end of the race. We've got 4 laps to go. Or 3 laps to go at the end of this lap, I should say. Alright, overtake button 2. Moving across on me, don't move under braking, son. Whoa! Turn over, take off again.
You might want to consider switching to a lower fuel
Yeah, I
mix.
will,
May not
GF.
finish
Don't
on the current settings.
Don't tell me what to do. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. See if we can catch Ricciardo.
We have 2 laps of
Whoa!
fuel remaining.
Got that 3-second penalty as well. But yeah, it doesn't just... When you lose the back end, particularly out of that second last corner there, I've done it pretty much every lap. It doesn't just bite you like it did before. You can work with the slide. You can kind of drift the car around without it just snapping on you.
Lap on the car behind.
Man, struggling now.
pushing the car ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race.
Whoa, whoa, spanked the wall there. Purple sector. Oh, lock up. I'm overdriving the car, I know. Alright, 2 more laps. Sun's starting to get low as well. Shadows are moving around. Oh, we need to save fuel. I didn't realize that. Oh dear.
Gap to the car in front is 2.
Going to lean.
Seconds.
Now, I'm not going to get to lap a car this race, so what I'll do is I won't include it in the video, but I'll do a lower AI level, get to a point where I'm overtaking a car, or lapping a car, and see how it behaves, and I'll include just the overtake, or a couple of overtakes in the video for you guys, so you get a sense of how that works as well, because that is something that I think is really important, because that was literally the reason I stopped playing F1 2019, or the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Was just every single time you went to lap a car, they'd park on the apex, you'd crash into them. You'd either lose a bunch of time or you'd crash into them. And, you know, if you're trying to record a career race or something like that, where you obviously don't want to have flashbacks and things like that being used, then it makes it very difficult. Final lap. How are we doing for fuel? Not going to have enough fuel to make it. Gonna have to short shift. Oh, we might just have enough. Whoops. Max goes fastest lap on the last lap of the race. Winner. Good on you, Max. Oh, we do have enough fuel now. We're well and truly under. Crank it up again. There we go. Alright, we're just coming up behind some lap cars now, blue flags. So let's see what happens. See if they park on the apex like they have previously. Whoop, oh. Okay, so he's just not let me through at all. We'll have to flashback that guy because we definitely want to flashback that. But yeah, this is what I was worried about, is these silly incidents where, like, I mean, obviously I was coming through there and he just turned in as if I wasn't there. And that's the kind of thing that made me really frustrated with 2019, is that despite the AI being really good, when you're lapping a car, it really shouldn't do that. I mean, obviously I'm coming through and he's just and then he's parked on the apex, and then he lets me past. It's just really, really hard to overtake lapped cars in this game, and it looks like that's something that they haven't unfortunately fixed. Let's do a couple more. Just to see what happens. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. It's right in the area of the circuit where
There's 3 laps of fuel
things can get hairy, so what's he going to do? Okay, so he slowed down appropriately, but wasn't really a perfect test. Let's get this next one as well. Whoops. George Russell, what are you going to do? Yeah, just parked on the apex. That's... See, I was ready for it, so I kind of anticipated it there, but you can see what I mean. It's like... It's the one thing about the AI in this game that just puts me off, and it makes it really hard when you're lapping cars to not end up having incidents that can ruin races. So, I mean, if you've got flashback, you can use it, but it just kind of takes away from the overall experience of playing the game. But we'll try a couple more if we can catch up. Okay, we've got a train of 3 cars now, so this will be an interesting test as well. And again, just turns straight into me and then pulls over.
This is your final lap of the race.
Let's see what happens here. Okay, so he got out of the way. See what Kvyat does. Okay, so he's slowed down as well. So it does look like they've improved it, maybe. Like, it's hard to tell. We'll have to sort of evaluate it over the course of a few races. But yeah, when you... It seems like when they're on a straight, or like a small bend or something like that, they get out of the way. But when they're... When you're coming into an apex and you're sort of like dive bombing them, they just don't yield at all. They turn in as if you're not even there. And I mean, like, as long as you're aware of it, it's okay, but if you're having a battle with somebody and then you're overtaking cars or you're lapping cars while you're having a battle, you got to slow right down. And it's really going to impact the race. So I'm really hoping that's something that they can, hopefully they'll see in this video and they can rectify. I'm sure it's not the first time it's been brought to their attention, but it's definitely something that I think takes away. And I mean, like, you're not going to be lapping cars all that often, but you know, it is a Formula 1 game and things like that really shouldn't be a problem. But anyway, it is what it is. There you go. At least you've seen now why I have that problem with the game. Alright, so I won't say final thoughts because obviously there's still... I've probably spent 2 or 3 hours playing the game now. So I feel like I'm in a good place to give a good overall first impression of the game at least. Obviously, there's a lot of things to explore yet. We haven't looked into multiplayer in any detail. There was quite a few multiplayer bugs previously with around pit stops and stuff like that were issues, and we will have a look at that. Obviously, we need to look at the historic cars as well, and that's something that I'm really excited to test out. We'll save that for another video. Also, the new circuits as well. That's exciting. But look, I mean, my laundry list of gripes that I had with F1 2019, some of those things have been addressed. Some haven't. Definitely the AI overall has improved. The car handling and the physics have definitely improved significantly as well, particularly around oversteer, exiting corners. You can really feel the back of the car moving around on you, and you feel like you've got that little bit of control. It doesn't just snap and then it's broken away and it's completely uncontrollable, and it doesn't just handle like it's on rails either. And that was one area where you could really exploit the physics. Once you kind of got the feeling of how F1 2019 drives, you could drive, or drove I should say, you could drive unrealistically fast in that game, whereas this is definitely a lot less forgiving. You feel the car moving around and you kind of have to really be careful with your throttle inputs on the turn exits, which is really good. So there's definitely been a significant improvement in terms of handling and physics. It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's a full step closer to being a sim, but there's definitely some incremental improvements there that I think the more sort of sim-oriented people will appreciate in this game, let's just say. But yeah, look, some of my other issues with the previous iterations of the game have been lack of mouse support, which I think is, you know, given that we have mouse support in other Codemasters titles, I just don't get why it's not there. And particularly with the complexity that we have now in the My Team system, it really needs to have it. It's really quite a clumsy UI, and I think that that's something that they really do need to fix. Lack of proper triple screen support, being projection correction, I think is something that needs to be addressed. And obviously the lack of VR support as well. Those are two things. And look, I get why they're not there. Like, I mean, I know that Codemasters are writing this game or producing this game for the masses, and the majority of people aren't going to be running VR or triple screens, but, you know, give us something. And I know that they've come out and they've said that it's incredibly difficult to implement with this particular game, but I mean, I can't really comment on that. I'm not a programmer, at least not these days, but, you know, they've done it in Dirt, they've done it, or Dirt Rally rather, Dirt Rally 2, they've done it in other titles, and come on, we want to see VR in this game, guys. It really would make this so much more popular among the sim community. And again, I know that the sim community makes up a small percentage of the overall sales of this game, but, you know, we are an important part of this. And, you know, particularly being a licensed F1 game, you really want it to be as realistic as possible, because we don't really have another choice in the sim world. And I mean, as Chris Haye covered brilliantly in his evaluation of the best F1 sim games a while back, and I'll link to that video in the description below for you guys. You know, this game, in terms of the realism of, you know, managing teams, and particularly now with the new My Team system, but, you know, managing tire wear, managing pit stops, managing all those things, you know, R&D throughout sessions, you know, qualifying, having all the proper team liveries. There isn't another sim that comes anywhere close to that level of experience in terms of immersion into the world of Formula One. So to not have the realistic driving experience to go along with that is, I guess, why sim racers get so disappointed with this game, because we feel like other companies could do that better. But it's so close and yet so far away from being a sim in terms of the physics. But, you know, a couple of other little things as well. Gripes around multiplayer we haven't covered yet, obviously, and we'll cover that in more detail in other videos. But yeah, that's that problem with the AI still. You know, the general defending and everything is really great, and I do feel like it's been improved again. But yeah, that problem under blue flags is still an issue, and that was what turned me away from F1 2019. I'd been playing 18 and 19, you know, religiously, putting hours and hours and hours. I got well over 1,000 hours on those two titles now, mostly in league racing. But yeah, whenever I tried to jump in, this was the reason why I didn't end up following through with those career video series that I'd said I was going to do, is that every single time I did a race, I ended up having a crash with a blue flag car. And it just took the enjoyment out of it. It was just like, oh, here we go, we got to do a flashback again. And it just ruined that immersion every single time you have to do a flashback. So I would really love to see them try and address that a little bit better than it has been. And yeah, look, otherwise, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a massive leap over the previous year's game. I mean, there are some clear improvements there, but, you know, UI-wise, it's pretty much the same. Graphics-wise, although there are some little tweaks and enhancements, you know, it feels like the same game over again. And I think that, you know, that's another part of the reason why people give Codemasters crap about this game, is it feels like they're charging a premium amount of money every year for, you know, not a whole lot of improvement. And there definitely are some significant improvements in this game. Don't get me wrong. I think, you know, if you love the F1 games and you love playing the F1 games, then, you know, this is a good buy. I think you're going to get your enjoyment out of it. You're going to get enough out of the updates, and, you know, even just having the new liveries and the new handling and stuff is enough to probably justify the cost to the more hardcore people that are going to spend, you know, tens and hundreds of hours on this game. At the end of the day, you know, if you can get 100 hours of entertainment out of a game that costs $100 Australian, that's pretty darn good value when you compare it to going to the movies or something like that. Although you can't really go to the movies anyway now because of the whole pandemic thing. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, is it good value for money? I think, yeah. If you're the sort of person that's going to enjoy those aspects of the game, then yes. But if you just want to jump in and drive a sim and you want to, you know, race with other cars, then it's not really offering a massively improved experience over the previous game. So it might be a little bit of a harder sell there. But for me, look, I did receive the game for free from Codemasters, but I feel like I probably would pay the money for it. I feel like it's a big enough improvement for me personally that I would be willing to spend the money, but my financial circumstances aren't the same as everybody else's. And if $100 Australian is, you know, a couple of months worth of savings to you, then maybe you're better off getting something like Assetto Corsa Competizione, which, you know, does have better quality physics, better quality, you know, gameplay in terms of the raw driving experience, and is a lot cheaper than this game is. So I think that pretty much summarizes it for now, guys. Hopefully they can address a few of those little issues in future patches. And yeah, we'll definitely be exploring some of the other game modes as well. We'll definitely have a look into multiplayer a little bit later on, as well as those historical cars. But hopefully this video has given you a little bit more insight into what this game is like as a first experience, a bit of an overview as to what you can expect from it. And yeah, I really do like that new My Team aspect of the game as well. I think that's a really welcome addition, and I think a lot of people will get a lot of hours of enjoyment out of, you know, managing that aspect as well and the actual immersion that gives you. So leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure you're subbed, hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos as well. And yeah, let me know if you've got any questions in the comments as well. I'm happy to answer those, and we can also address any of those in future videos as well as we move on, because I know that, you know, all the things that have annoyed me about previous games, all the things that I've loved about previous games won't necessarily be the same as you guys. So it's good to sort of get your input on that and address some of those things as well. So let me know in the comments. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.